Hello, friends. Welcome back to Sunday Shenanigans with me, your host, Trevor Stewart 1308. And we are here with the ASOC Prod Cat and the Peanut Gallery. Say hi, guys.
Hello.
Moo.
Radio. We are going to be playing along with NPR's news quiz show, weekly news quiz show, Wait, Don't Tell Me. And today's guest on Wait, Don't Tell Me is Brian Tyree. But before we get into that, today's pre-rolls brought to you by The Hidden Leaf, downtown Charlottesville, on the Downtown Mall, 105 West Main Street, above the Bricks, Suite 200, between Green Cauldron and Hamilton's. A great place to go with some great buds to get some great buds, bud? And the only thing better than their bud is their customer service. Also, they do have the lowest prices in town, according to my own personally highly biased research, by which I mean I was incredibly high when I did my own personal research. Don't forget to check the website for times and events. The website is thehiddenleafseville.com. That's thehiddenleafseville, Cville, all one word, .com. Where you can find out about events like Frosty Fridays, sales event, where you can find our other sponsors. Kush Gang, purveyors of fine edibles, and Firehouse craft cannabis goods. A note of disclosure, of course, this is we are a politically opinionated group of a-holes. Which means that essentially we're a bunch of farts in the wind. That being said, our opinions belong to us alone. They do not represent the opinions of any of our sponsors, including The Hidden Leaf, Kush Gang, and Firehouse. Yeah, I think that's the ad read. Hey. You can tell I haven't had much to smoke this morning. We're all operating a little slow today. Well, I don't know about all. I know that myself and the ASOC Prod Cat are moving a little slow.
Oh,
How are you?
Me. I currently suffer from SLOW.
Yeah. SLOW?
Yep, SLOW.
What's it stand for?
Slow.
Okay.
You are not suffering from the same type of slow I am, because you have actually gotten up, made food, eaten the food. The slowness is not the same. I'm still at the glaring at the world stage.
Well, there's a difference. I never leave that stage.
I mean, this is true.
I understand completely. I do.
Don't forget to switch over to the streaming.
Yes.
Already done.
All right. Hey, Chris in the 386. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Welcome in. I hope you're feeling a bit more with it than most of us. We're a little, oh, you guys got there already. Got to the shout out before me. Yeah, we're all moving a little slow today. So, we're not fully expecting high scores, I don't think.
Well, no matter what, you're going to get a high score.
No, I'm
Yes, he
just
is
a
the
high
highest scoring
scorer.
Okay.
Did we both say the same thing at the same time, Kat?
Effectively. Different phrasing, but the same
Okay.
thing. Oh.
One sec. Yeah,
So
okay.
Chris is the evil early bird. Okay.
Yep. And he's and he's got the he's medicated twice, so he's feeling fine. He's got his he's made his medication go down. I'm still working on it. You know, I only smoked a half a bowl or so before stream today. So, I'm still hit it harder. I would, but it hits me hard too. It hits back. Oh man, okay. I I got to explain why the mic bites were so funny to someone last night, by the way. Dawson __ didn't know the backstory about Mike Tyson and Buster Douglas and the fight and the bite. So when she saw the short of me eating the mic bites and laughing because ears with a bite taken out, she didn't have time to catch the whole thing. And when I happened through her stream yesterday, she asked me about it. And it's one of those things that is,
I thought it was Holyfield, not Douglas.
Was it Holyfield, not Douglas? I honestly don't remember. I thought it happened in the late 80s. So when somebody said late 90s, I was like, oh yeah, late 90s. I'm sorry, my bad. Like, my memory of it, I was pretty young at the time. And I was still dealing with sort of culture shock of coming out of the commune. Which I dealt with for probably a good 15 or 20 years. I don't think I really fully assimilated to the outside world. Oh. Never mind.
So what does leaving the commune have to do with electrifying yogurt?
I don't know. What does it have to do with electrifying yogurt?
Well, you're the one who brought up culture shock.
Oh, God.
I did not see that coming. I could not figure out where that was going. That's why I walked into it like I did. I believe that deserves applause. Yes.
Yeah.
I guess we better just get started with the episode, because this is only going to go downhill, I think.
Yep. We're not really starting at a high point.
No, you're
No,
just
we aren't. That's why I'm smoking.
You're giving me more reasons to find sound clips and actually put them into the server's soundboard.
All right, let's see if we can get this to a high point. Preferably about most of the way done with this joint.
Support for
you
NPR
guys hear
comes
it?
from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.
Uh-oh. Now I can't hear it. Okay, let's try
This
that.
message comes from
Can you hear
Sony
it now?
Pictures Classics with On Swift Horses. A woman embarks on a secret life, a love she never thought possible. Daisy Edgar Jones, Jacob Elordi,
I'll
Will
let it
Poulter,
play through
Diego
ads
Calva,
until you
and Sasha
figure it
Calle
out.
star. Now playing only in theaters.
Got it.
Got it?
For some strange reason, it had gotten muted on my end.
Okay.
The rest of it was coming through, but for some strange reason, that part was muted.
How bizarre. How bizarre. All right, here we go. Do-do-do-do-do.
From
Everybody
NPR,
got their
WBEZ Chicago. This
pencils
is
and
Wait,
notebooks
don't tell
to
me.
keep score?
The NPR News Quiz. I'm Bill Curtis. Accept no substitute. But by all means, accept Peter Sagal's substitute here at the Studebaker Theater at the Fine Arts Building in Chicago, Illinois. It's Karen Chi.
Hi, Karen.
Thank you, Bill. That's right. I'm Karen Chi, filling in for Peter Sagal. He's at home recovering from a fight with another NPR host right now. I don't want to name any names, but let's just say Steve Inskeep is a biter.
Oh!
You're all in for a treat because later we're talking to Oscar-nominated actor Brian.
They take a lot of shots at Inskeep, I've noticed, over the years. I've noticed that a lot of people take shots at Inskeep. Somebody...
Transmission received.
The phone.
Do you
I am
suppose there's
squirrely.
actually something behind it?
I don't know. I know that somebody was making fun of, like, about 5-10 years ago, somebody was making fun of Inskeep's comb-over. So, you know...
So maybe
I
it's just he's got the world's most punchable face.
maybe he has a really good sense of humor. Maybe he's, you know,
That
maybe...
could be it too.
You know, yeah, he could be like Ira Glass, who just had a great sense of humor. You could make all these jokes about him, and he'd just, I think Kyra's doll's like that. I think Terry Gross is like that. I think. Yeah, I think quite a few of their like really long time hosts are able to take some pretty big jokes on them. I don't know for sure, but it's what it seems like.
Yeah. But that's a good question to know.
Yeah, it's interesting. All right, back to it.
Henry. You probably know him from Atlanta or his new show, Dope Thief. Or, as I know him, as the voice of the absolutely jacked Smokey the Bear. But first, it's your turn to call in to play our games. The number is 1-888-WAIT-WAIT. That's 1-888-924-8924. Hi, you're on Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me.
Hey, Karen. This is Kevin Stroud. I live in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Oh,
Hi, Kevin from Raleigh.
welcome.
Thank you.
Kevin, what do you do in beautiful Raleigh?
By day, I am a mental health therapist.
Oh, wow. That's an
Okay.
amazing job. Thank you for doing that.
Of course.
I'm sure you're doing great in your business, but if you need any referrals, I do have a lot of ex-boyfriends.
Well,
We said we weren't going to talk about that, Karen.
All right, Kevin, let's introduce you to our panel. First, a comedian and fashion designer whose new summer line and new novel, Silk and Silencer, will be available May 15th on bbspoke.shop. It's Brian Babylon.
Hi,
Ooh, what's up, man? How are you?
doing well. How you, Dan?
Good, bro.
Good to hear.
Next, the host of the daily podcast TBTL and the public radio variety show Livewire, which will be live at the Reser Center in Beaverton, Oregon on May 1st, Luke Burbank.
Hi, Luke.
Hey, Kevin.
Hey, Luke, how are you?
Can we just take a moment and appreciate the name of that town? Beaverton, Oregon.
Yes, we can. Okay, moments then.
Comedian and host of the podcast Fake the Nation, who you can follow on all the social media platforms that you keep meaning to delete. It's Nagin Farsad!
Hi, Nagin Farsad. Love Nagin.
Welcome to the show, Kevin. You're going to play Who's Bill this time. Bill Curtis is going to read you 3 quotes from this week's news. If you can correctly identify or explain 2 of them, you'll win our prize, which is any voice from our show that you choose on your voicemail. Are you ready?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Amazing. Your first quote is from a spokesperson at a gambling site.
It's our biggest non-sporting event of the year, and we expect the betting to really pick up as we head toward the conclave.
So, people are betting on who is going to be the next what?
Pope.
The voting for the papacy?
Yes, that's correct. People are betting on who is going to be the next pope. People mourned Francis's passing all over the world, but no one more than the producers of the movie Conclave, who said, hey, couldn't he have at least done this during our Oscar campaign? It is a sign of how in touch the Pope was with the people in the church that he was like, wait, conclaves are huge right now, we gotta ride this train.
I love that idea that he was so into pop culture because I feel like he had a really great sense of humor, and I feel like he was like, guys, wouldn't it be funny if I met J.D. Vance and then I die? That's the timing.
I mean, it really is.
His commitment to the bit.
Famously.
Incredible.
He wrote an encyclical on being committed to the bit. He lived it.
What Nagin is saying is true. The vice president met with the Pope the day before he died and said to him, it's good to see you in better health. Which, incidentally, it's good to see you in better health is also what J.D. Vance said to the stock market in March.
And
that trophy.
And the national championship trophy before that. That guy is on a tear.
He is,
I feel like
man.
more industries should sort of announce the new head of the company through smoke and its colors.
Can't we get him to meet?
It's just a fun kind of way to...
Can't we just get J.D. Vance to meet Trump?
Problem is he has, and I think he's immune at this point.
Because, I mean, like, it's right there. He's got vampiric touch. We know he's killed and destroyed before with it. He's right there.
The problem is he's secretly subscribing these people for the service of better health. And that's the problem.
Dang it.
Okay.
You're right.
I also think, you know how you can like carry around like a little personal fan for when you're hot? I think personal smoke machine for when you just want to like share a detail about your life.
Right?
Wait, I just want to bring it back to the smoke, though, because I want to say, if you're betting on the new Pope, remember, if the smoke is blue, it's going to be a boy.
Right.
And if the smoke is pink, it's also going to be a boy. The Pope is always going to be a boy.
Yeah. The world's least interesting gender reveal.
All right, Kevin, your next quote is some words costing someone tens of millions of dollars.
Please and thank you.
This week, a tech CEO said that we cost his company millions of dollars when we say those words when typing requests into what?
Oh, into ChatGPT.
That's correct. Yeah. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman says please and thank you cost his company tens of millions of dollars
But he also
because it's
says it's a
unnecessary
good
data
thing.
for ChatGPT to process. And I just want to say, if this is costing him money, I love that. I'm going to be extra polite. I'm going to start using ChatGPT just to give it a forehead kiss after each answer.
Yeah. I love it. It's like I'm from the Pacific Northwest, and I've lost friends in the war. And by the war, I mean coming to a four-way stop when someone else came to the same four-way stop, and everyone's waiting for the other person to go. That's like next level politeness. We need to do that with these programs.
Yeah.
Just completely lock them up.
But also, like, I got into it with ChatGPT a couple of nights ago where it was telling me they was going to do something. I got this plan, that plan. You download this, Hey, ChatGPT, the link's not working. I know. That's my bad. I said something that I couldn't do. Sorry for overpromising. Then I'm like, why would you do that? I don't know. It really went to this whole thing. I know. I'm so sorry. I won't do it again.
So how many icebergs melted because of this lover spat?
It was a lot because I had to tell it hey man, don't tell me any more BS. Get on your square, yo. He's like, yo, okay, I will. And then he had a meltdown.
All of that cost that guy Sam Altman money, right?
Yeah, I was going to say it's costing him money, but it's also requiring a lot of power and electricity. So when you're asking it a request, you have to remember that saying something like, write my term paper is fine, but please, hi, will you write my term paper? Thank you. Burns down an entire Brazilian rainforest.
Yes.
But also, I wonder, so the argument for being friendly to the AI is that eventually they'll take over and be our masters and they'll know which ones of us were nice.
Yes.
Yes, and that's exactly what he...
So I have a question, which is,
Sam
do we have a
Altman-Fried
quota as people for how nice we can be? And then if we are nice to AI all the time, are we then mean to our moms?
Is it a zero-sum game of
right,
niceness?
Right. And if you're mean to your mom, how many icebergs does that melt?
Wait, Nagin, do you wake up every morning being like, I can only say 5 nice things today?
Yeah, is that how we all do it?
Did you see the color of her smoke backstage, Karen? I've used up all of my nice things.
Yeah.
All right, Kevin, now we are on to our last quote.
I really don't care about plant-based.
That was someone speaking to the New York Times about new data that finds what is back on American plates.
Meat. Beef.
You got a hint for me?
A hint is it is something that was once alive.
Meat?
That's correct.
All right.
That's right. Meat is back. Or, depending on which state you live in, meat is the same.
It's what's still been for dinner.
Yeah. After years of decline, sales of meat hit record highs last year. And this is due to a number of factors. It's that high protein diets are in, we're getting tired of plant-based meats, but more than anything, we just don't like those cows' attitudes.
Oh.
Pretty much.
So am I the only vegetarian on this panel? Okay.
I'm not. I'm not.
I am a vegetarian.
Not.
The fake meat is not what it is cracked up to be.
It's not.
I'm not surprised to hear that people are, I don't know if they're going away from that and towards real meat, but that stuff is not, I don't care what it's on the box, what it looks like.
No,
you get that thing home and you cook it up, it is not fooling anybody.
I do agree with what you're saying, though. I mean, we did go too crazy with the plant-based stuff. I used a plant-based shampoo, which I'm pretty sure is just normal shampoo.
Pretty much, yeah.
But now that we're overcorrecting, I can't wait to see the new Windex now with lamb.
Oh.
Bill, how did Kevin do?
Kevin rocked with 3 in a row. He won.
Kevin, congratulations, and thank you so much for playing.
Of course. Thank you so much, Karen.
Right now, panel, time for you to answer some questions about this week's news. Luke, loose-lipped Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth says he's cutting wasteful spending at the Pentagon, and he is making changes, according to CBS
Kat,
News.
I haven't.
He's adding a what to the Pentagon's briefing room?
A
bar.
makeup studio?
That's correct.
Makeup studio. That's right.
Pete Hegseth is adding a makeup studio.
Makeup studio.
Yeah. Yeah. He's adding so that they can...
He's formerly a Fox News anchor, so he's trying to prep everything in the same fashion.
Right. He wants everybody to
Well,
look
that would
good.
explain why his wife and other family members have been added to secret chats.
That and his ill health of at least 2 bottles a day.
See, him being a former Fox News anchor would lead me to assume that he could keep things from his wife, like however many mistresses or young pool boys he's got.
See, that's a common misconception. Fox News anchors don't actually, they think they're hiding that information from their wives, but they're not. Their wives are actually just buying into the, I'm not gonna notice it so that I can keep getting this bag. They're all grifters. They're all getting paid for it. So if the wives speak up about the pool boys, the wives stop getting paid just as much as the husbands.
But if they speak up about the pool boys or side pieces or whatnot, then they might be able to leverage that for their own show.
Yes, except for they are conservative women, and they're not supposed to have their own show. They're not supposed to have their own.
Have you looked at half the Fox News anchors?
They may be women, but it's not their show.
Yeah, even when it's got their name on it, it's not their show.
It's still not their show.
This is true.
And so hanging their husbands out to dry wouldn't work for the men who run those shows.
Oh no, they might hang me out to dry for the exact same thing.
Bingo! And Disco was his name-o, yo. Yeah, it is one of those really interesting sort of lie agreed upon situations. Everybody's agreed on the same lies, so they just all play along.
All right, so wait. Thinking about that, does that mean that effectively they've all agreed to just enact Victorian era type marriages where everybody just does their own thing, but we're pretending we're not?
Yep. And the thing is, this is really a cultural thing. This is how they have been taught to exist. This is how they've been taught the world works. They don't really, it's not an individual decision so much as it is, this is the example they see. This is how they were, what they were brought up into. Or in some cases, this is the status quo that they always wanted to be part of. What's her name?
My problem is, I'm of such a mindset that I cannot square their hypocrisy when they point out these flaws in other people.
Right, of course. Like, that's sort of the thing. Like, I know I have multiple girlfriends and boyfriends. I know that but I'm upfront about it, for one. That's who I am. It's, and if people don't want to be part of that, that's fine. I'm not gonna, So, but if I were to take a position against polyamory, that would be that level hypocritical. And as somebody who is openly omniamorous, I don't think poly really covers it. I find that people being not just in the closet, but vocally against it while they practice it in the closet, I find that kind of hypocrisy angering.
I'm sorry. I prefer to deal with polyamory as opposed to omniamory because I don't want you to be standing there lovingly lusting after a spork.
Okay. That is a valid point. I do have limits on my amory. There are limits. There is, not just inanimate objects, but like humans. Has to be humans for one. Although those cheesecake pound cake things that Kush Gang made came really close. But no, humans, and they have to be over 30. 30 and over.
You're now making me regret every time that I have looked at something and said, I really want that. I'm not getting it because I don't want to take it home, but I really want that. You're now making me regret.
Sorry, spork was just the most absurd thing that popped into my mind, so I had to
It
use
was
that
a good one. It made your point. It made your point. And had a spoon attached.
Yeah, I did have to spoon feed it to you.
Yeah, okay. Whew, that hurt.
I need more tea for this.
Well, let's get back to the show because stick a fork in this joke. It's done.
You don't have to be so cutting.
And we know this because he texted his stylist, hey, I can't wait to try this new eyeshadow. Also, here are the nuclear codes.
So this CBS News, I think, reported this initially, that there was money being allocated to sort of remodeling this green room. And so then somebody over there said, this is totally made up, this is BS, here's the room. And then they tweeted out what was clearly a photo of a makeup room.
Yeah.
It was pretty much as advertised.
It was also, they went one step further, actually. The DoD struck back at this report saying, and this is exactly what you want your spokesperson to say if you were the Secretary of Defense. They said Pete Hegseth doesn't need a makeup room because Pete Hegseth does his own makeup.
No, that's Vance.
I love the idea of like a 4-star general showing up at the Pentagon and a PA being like, should I take you to hair and makeup?
I did my own glam. Could you imagine?
amazing.
Yeah, could you imagine Don Rumsfeld showing up in full glam?
You're so
I'd pay to see that.
Oh, so pretty. You really knocked me off my feet.
This one's gonna get us.
Coming up, the only thing we have to fear is you missing this week's Bluff the Listener game. So call 1-88...
Soak in the Surrey. Sample fusion to find the cascading world of sunshine extras without the extra cost.
Tell me, the NPR News quiz.
That last interstitial music, I think, is gonna get us a copyright claim on YouTube. I've noticed that a lot of our videos get copyright on them, copyright claims. A lot of every now and again, Wait doesn't, because they are just using public domain interstitial music. But a lot of times it does. And I've discovered that AI is mistaking some of our homemade music for other people's music, and I'm getting copyright claims on stuff that only has our music in it.
Yep.
And there are times when it takes public domain stuff and starts trying to do a copyright claim on it.
Yep.
So
there was a lady that she got her Twitch account in like January, and at the end of March her account was banned for things, and she had not even uploaded or done anything on it.
Oh, wow.
because AI said that there was purchase fraud that had happened with her account.
Purchase fraud? Huh.
Purchase fraud. And they sent a very rude email saying that because it's purchase fraud, we're never unbanning you.
And this is the last we're talking about it.
Yes.
Wow.
So she asked for her full data from Twitch, and had to send them a registered letter.
Yeah.
Asking for this. And when they got that, they unbanned her.
Because that meant someone had to put human eyes on the account and see what the situation was.
And
meanwhile, we still need to send all the information to her.
Right.
And they've got she's got they have 30 days to send it, so everybody that saw the video is waiting for the 16th of May to see what happens and if she ever gets all of her information or not.
Okay. So, yeah, this is something, by the way, that at some point I need to go through the YouTube and look for all the copyright ones that might be fallacious.
Once you start that again.
And appeal those.
Yeah.
It really is irritating. It's irritating.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, the more that we call it out, the more that they have to put human eyes on it, the less they're going to be likely to want to, in the future, only trust the AI.
Yep.
Because it costs extra to call the humans back in to look at it.
Now, also, the more we call it out, the better the AI will be trained for not getting these things wrong.
True. True.
Boy.
I'm just not looking forward to doing the tedious part of the work. You know? It's... Uh-huh. It's the kind of thing that I want to want to get an intern to do. Wait, isn't that what Brock said he was? He's doing this for college credit?
I believe he mentioned something along those lines, yes.
Well, all right.
So, he's the channel's Brockter?
Yes. That's been we've done that one before.
Okay.
Although I did it as Brockter of exams.
Mm-hmm.
This slightly smug grin of self-pleased with that one. Like, I shouldn't be. It's not that good. All right, so back to the show, eh?
I'm Bill Curtis. We are playing this week with Luke Burbank, Brian Babylon, and Nagin Farsad. And here again is your host at the Studebaker Theater in Chicago, Illinois, Karen Chee.
Thank you, Bill. Right now, it's time for the Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me Bluff the Listener game. So call 1-888-WAIT-WAIT to play our game on air, or check out the pinned post on our Instagram page at WaitWaitNPR. Hi, you're on Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me.
Howdy, this is Chris Robinson calling in from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Hi,
Chris, how are you doing this week?
Pretty good this week. I'm in law school right now, so I decided to, take some time out and do a fun NPR show and try to relax a little bit before finals come up.
Nice. I love it. I love when a true nerd
Law
calls
school.
into NPR saying, I'm taking a break from finals by doing a quiz.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us. You're going to play our
Exactly.
game in which you must try to tell truth from fiction. So what's the topic, Bill?
Childhood fears come true.
You know the classic kid fears like the dark, the boogeyman, the creeping realization that you've peaked at age 7. This week, somebody's childhood fear did come true, and our panelists are going to tell you about it. So pick the one who's telling the truth, and you'll win our prize, the Wait Waiter of your choice, on your voicemail. Chris, are you ready to play?
I'm ready.
All right. First up, it's Negin Farsad.
As a kid, the only thing Ronald D'Souza feared more than getting pantsed was escalators. He feared that if he didn't tie his shoes before getting on an escalator, it would eat his legs. To this day, as an adult manager of the Macy's in Palm Desert, California, Ronald takes a beat too long to step on, waiting for the right step, missing the right step, and then waiting again for the right step. One day, he was doing a VIP tour with vendors when the laces of his Oxfords came undone. He didn't notice and led the group to the escalator. That's when the escalator began to eat his shoe. He was reflexively pulled to his knees, and that's when his pant leg got sucked in, pulling his trousers down and showing off his tighty-whities. It was a double whammy childhood nightmare. He was rescued, but only after his clients and a steady stream of shoppers were treated to the rear end of a man perched like he was getting a public prostate exam. Coworkers cut him out of the pants, after which he scurried to the men's section looking business on top, party on the bottom. Nowadays, Ronald takes the elevator.
Ooh, no kidding. No, I don't buy it.
That is a workplace pantsing from Negin Farsad. And your next story of a wee one's worry come to life comes from Brian Babylon.
This week, Mitchell and Brienne of Traverse City, Michigan had their first date. They decided to go hunting for rocks. That's what romance looks like in Michigan. So they headed up to the beach looking for some special bluestones, sort of like a Bachelor and Indiana Jones spinoff. Now, Brienne sees a spot near the water and says, "That looks dangerous." Mitchell hears that and just like a typical man goes, "Oh, word? Well, that's exactly where I'm going." This fool steps into the danger zone and gets snatched up to his waist in 2 seconds by quicksand. And get this, he wasn't even shocked. He said, "Oh, not this again." Again? How many times have you been in quicksand, bro? What kind of lifestyle is this? Who raised you? Shaggy from Scooby-Doo? But here's the real rom-com moment. During the 911 call, they both accidentally dropped the girlfriend and boyfriend title for the first time to the 911 caller. The firefighters finally showed up and pulled Mitchell out like a human cork. Moral of the story, if your date starts with yard work and turns into a rescue op and then ends with relationship titles, congratulations, you're not in love, you're in a Lifetime movie.
I want that one to be true.
And that's a story about how quicksand is real from Brian Babylon. And your last story of a fear becoming fact comes from Luke Burbank.
Kylie Hogan of Coober Pedy, Australia, knew she wasn't losing her mind. The married mother of 3 kept telling her husband, Paul, she was hearing something or someone under the bed after he'd fall asleep at night. But his response was, "Nar, it's just your imagination."
Nar,
but in
it's just your
fact, as the
imagination.
Coober Pedy Times reported recently, "Nar, it wasn't just her imagination. The noises were coming from under the house, in the ground where a sinkhole was slowly opening up. When the city finally came out to investigate, it turned out the hole was part of a rich vein of opals. Unfortunately, the family had to move out of their home, which was torn down. But fortunately, they now own the rights to a very profitable opal operation, allowing them to build a huge new home just down the street, complete with toilets that flush in the normal direction, and a beautiful fenced backyard where the family's pet koala, Crikey, can relax with her babies, safe from area dingoes.
Okay, Chris, so you've got Nagin's story of a man getting pantsed by an escalator during a big day at work, Brian's story of a man getting stuck in quicksand on a first date, and from Luke, a woman who finds out that the monster under her bed is actually a sinkhole. So which one do you think is real?
I think I'm going to go with Luke's because it sounds more realistic. Just hoping I'm not wrong.
Okay, so your choice is Luke's story about a misadventure in Australia.
So, what are we all betting? I'm going B. All right. You're taking A, Peanut Gallery, and Kat, you're with me on B. And nobody's agreeing with the contestant saying C.
Well, for me, it's the fact that they made the joke about the pet koala.
Right. And, yeah.
Which most of the Australians I've talked to are like, yeah, no.
No.
Well, do remember, most of the times when they make these things, they do add embellishments just for the fun of it.
Oh, I know.
Right, but sometimes I find that some of the more tropish embellishments happen on ones that are not true. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that it's a regular thing, but it's something I've noticed occasionally. So, all right, let's see who's right, who's wrong, and
Correct answer. We spoke to a reporter covering
what
the real
actually
story.
happened.
There are probably easier ways to get a girlfriend than getting stuck in quicksand.
Wow. There is.
That was Kara Berg of the Detroit News talking about the quicksand romance. I'm so sorry, Chris, but Brian had the real answer.
You gotta go with your heart.
You gotta go with your heart, and that's how you should think about your law school finals.
Yes.
Chris, I'm sorry you didn't win, but you did earn a point for Luke, so thank you so much.
Law school finals.
Goes to show, never bet against the penguins.
And now the game we call Not My Job. Brian Tyree Henry is an Oscar, Emmy, and Tony-nominated actor who first came to national attention playing the rapper Paperboy
So all
in
he needs is a
FX's
Grammy
Atlanta.
to get EGOT.
Since then, he's been a superhero, a transformer, and in his new show Dope Thief, a small-town grifter pretending to be a DEA agent. Thank God I flushed all my drugs before the interview started. Brian Tyree Henry, welcome to Wait, Don't Tell Me.
I didn't flush mine, so that's all.
Oh, great. Okay, I'll have my toilet burp mine back up then.
Please don't ever say that sentence again.
Brian, I wanted to ask, you've been nominated for an Oscar, a Tony, and an Emmy. So my next question was, how does it feel to achieve the pinnacle of cinematic success? By which I mean voicing Smokey Bear.
To be honest with you, it feels like the role I was born to play.
Oh, wow.
I truly love going to national parks shirtless as often as possible. So I feel like it was a method acting gig for me.
I wouldn't mind seeing him in a national
I
park
just realized
shirtless.
Smokey the Bear did not have a shirt on.
Yeah.
I never realized that.
No point has
If
he
you
had
look
a shirt.
at him recently, he's gotten quite buff, which I was like, I was like, is that for me? Because like,
Listen, you joke, but I literally wrote down the question, are you the reason Smokey Bear is hot now?
so it better be.
Okay, wait, going off of this, though, I did have a question. Marry, Kiss, Kill, Smokey Bear, Paddington Bear, and Winnie the Pooh.
Okay, I would say marry Smokey for the benefits.
Government
You can get it to any
benefits.
national park you want, so clearly.
Right.
Marry, Kiss. I would kiss Paddington because, he deserves it. And he'll taste like marmalade, so that's that.
Nice.
And you gotta kill Winnie because put your pants on.
question, which is that
No,
you've
Winnie
been in
plus Smokey equals a
Transformers, The
complete set of
Eternals,
clothing.
and Spider-Man. These are all huge franchises, and I wanted to rewind all the way back in time and ask, do you remember what your very first role was?
Yes, embarrassingly enough, I was Santa Claus in my preschool production. I don't even know what this play was about, but I remember I had like a cotton ball beard, they glued this beard together. And, all the parents were there, and I was the final part of this Christmas play, and I'm playing Santa Claus, and I have Mrs. Claus with me. And we've been rehearsing all week, and literally as it comes to me, I pull my beard down and go to my teacher off the side of the stage, and I go, "What's my line?" Which, in a photo that my mother captured, you can see this woman full of rage going, "Merry Christmas, Brian!"
He pulled a like, what's my motivation? Like, what's my motivation here?
And here I am now, a Tony.
I like
One Grammy away from EGOT.
He's like, ho, ho, line.
What is it?
Ho.
Yeah, it was great, but I nailed it. Just to be very clear.
Well, now when you do win an Oscar, you have to start off your speech by saying "Merry Christmas."
Mary, what's my line?
Yeah. I also wanted to ask about a different role, which I read about, and I wasn't sure if it was a rumor. Is it true that you played a tree in Chekhov's The Three Sisters?
Ooh. Who sent you? I did. It definitely humbles you. And my only line in that play was what? Tree.
What?
I was like, well, at least this tree gets to speak. At least there's some depth there.
Right. Did you always remember your line in that one?
Oh man, I must have been on so many drugs at that point. I don't remember.
You said it was a wooden performance?
Yes.
Just wanted to make sure we gave you credit for that.
Yeah, I wonder if your line was actually what, or if that's what you said because you couldn't remember.
Or if that's what I said.
What?
Both can be true, honestly. Both can be true. Nuance is what they say.
Going off of that, I wanted to ask, you've been a part of so many iconic projects, both on stage and on screen. What are you most recognized for when you're out in the world?
I believe there's a black person on this panel. Did I hear you?
Yeah, it's me.
I'm here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, don't tell me. It's this guy.
Yeah.
A paperboy. It always, I could be in places where there's a population of 300 people and somebody is going to scream paperboy at me. But it's changing. It's changing. It's I went to my local grocery store not too long ago because yes, I like to buy my own groceries everywhere. And this woman was like, "Hey, I just want you to know that I just want to know, are you the actor from Dope Thief?" And I threw my arms around her. I was like, "Thank you so much. Yes, I am. Thank you so much." So it's all shifting, but Paperboy is usually the thing that.
Were you at? Was it the grocery? Was it Irwan? Was it the grocery store?
Close. Close. It was Sprouts.
Oh,
Yeah.
How dare you? How dare you?
Irwan.
All right. All right, Brian Tyree Henry, we've actually invited you here to play a game that we're calling
BTH meet BTS.
Oh no.
That's right.
Oh no.
You are Brian Tyree Henry, BTH, so we're going to ask you about one of the biggest bands in history, BTS. So answer 3 questions about the K-pop icons, and you'll win our prize for one of our listeners. Bill, who is Brian playing for?
Brittany Trinite of Round Rock, Texas.
Bless your heart for thinking I'll know any of these answers, but let's go.
Okay, here's your first question. After forming in 2010, BTS became one of the biggest bands in the world. They're so popular that which of these is true? A, they were the only band that Pope Francis had on his iPod. B, B, the crowds at BTS concerts are so loud that the noise is faintly detectable from space. Or C, almost 1 in 10 visitors to South Korea go there for BTS-related reasons.
C.
I'm gonna say the last one. 1 in 10 go to Korea.
Yes, that's correct. NPR reported that BTS adds $5 billion annually to South Korea's economy.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Wow.
What can K-pop do for you?
Yeah.
Right?
All right, Brian, here's your next question. BTS thinks a lot about their lyrics, so much so that they do what before recording them? A, run them by a women's studies professor. B, have their official fan account send out definitions for any particularly big words. And C, make sure they sound just as good screamed out loud or whispered to yourself alone in your bedroom.
C. I'm going C.
Well, the last one I do myself, so that's... I'm gonna say the second one about having someone look up the words that sing.
Do you want to guess again?
I only want to be on games that gaslight me like this one. Thank you. Okay, the third one.
Listen, I'm going to give you one more guess.
A. I'm saying A. I'm going with A. A.
Merry Christmas.
Okay, the first one.
That's correct. All right, here's your last question. Fans were worried about the future of BTS because all South Korean men are required to complete...
Wait. Let's not just breeze past that. They submit their lyrics to a women's studies professor. I do believe I might now like BTS. That might be what won me over now. From not really caring to actually liking them. That might have won me over.
Well, this also depends on what type of women's studies we're talking about.
That is true, granted, but I'm willing to believe that it's the generally accepted and not bad one. You know, not the FBI, the female body inspector.
Mm-hmm.
Their women's study professor could be just a construction worker on the side of the road.
I like to study women. Dude, no. But no, I don't believe that's... I believe they mean a real, women's studies professor, accredited. And what I'm dancing...
Take all the wind out of the sails for the bad joke.
All right, we should get back to this.
To complete a year and a half of military service before the age of 28. So as BTS neared their deadline, the government got involved. How? A, they negotiated a special 2-year truce with North Korea to make sure BTS would stay safe.
That's all it takes.
B, they passed a special law allowing anyone to defer their service as long as they're in a hit K-pop band. And C, they amassed a, quote, strategic BTS song stockpile.
I'm going to go with B.
Defer their service?
That's correct.
Yeah.
After a bit of deferring for a world tour, all of the BTS members have since enlisted. So, Bill, how did Brian do on our quiz?
Brian, you did great. You got them all right. You're a winner.
Bill, are you sure you don't want to ask what your line is, just to be safe?
Brian Tyree Henry is starring in Dope Thief on Apple TV+. Brian, thank you so much for joining us on Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me. You crushed it.
If I ever see him in public, I'll say, hey, look, it's Smokey Bear. It's the new
In just a
Jacked
minute,
and
find out
Sexy
what
Smokey
happens
Bear.
when BFF meets PU in our Listener Limerick Challenge. Call 1-888-WAIT-WAIT to join us on air. We'll be back in a minute with more of Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me from NPR.
Better, best in.
It leaves service at U.S. Cart with your party for 3 orders.
Playing this week with Nagin Farsad.
BTS's service?
Huh?
About BTS's military service?
Yeah.
One thing I do know is they deferred the oldest members until the youngest members qualified so that they never actually broke up the band. They all went in together.
Ah! That's kind of cool. I wonder if they all served in the same unit and everything. Wonder if they all did. I wonder if they were like, instead of actually, you know, if they did their version of the USO. Because that would seem like the perfect military service for a K-pop band.
I don't know. Was Elvis in that?
Oh, Elvis has left this mortal coil.
Bank and Brian Babylon. And here again is your host at the Studebaker Theater in Chicago, Illinois, Karen Big Dog Cheese.
Thank you, Bill. In just a minute, there ain't no party like a limerick party, because why would you have limericks at a normal party, you nerd? So if you'd like to play, give us a call at 1-888-WAIT-WAIT. That's 1-888-924-8924. But right
There
now,
once
panel,
was a
some
bar
more
made
questions
from
for you from
sail.
the week's news. Brian, this is exciting. Scientists say they've discovered a new color. And if you want to see it,
Oh,
all
it's
you have to
green.
do is what?
This has nothing to do with
Get
my
shot with lasers?
Here's a hint.
Yeah.
It involves a laser, and the last thing you should ever do with a laser.
Get shot in the eye with lasers.
Yeah, it's called, well, in my neighborhood, they call it like lightsaber syndrome. But it's like you're not supposed to look into a laser.
Do you live on the Death Star?
You're not supposed to look straight into a laser.
I'll give it to you. That's correct.
Thank you.
It's shoot a laser into your eye. So scientists have discovered a new color, and all you have to do to see it is to shoot a laser into your eye.
So what is the color called blind?
So what happens before she describes it, so that I can get credit for knowing this, is I don't remember what kind of laser it was, because I sort of started paying attention right when they said laser eye and you'll see a green you've never seen before. But
I don't remember what kind of laser, but I do know that they were specifically telling people that you need to make sure that it was a lower wattage, because they were afraid people were going to be picking up these higher wattage laser pointers and
just
doing
shooting
damage.
themselves in the eye.
Yes.
But also, it is what happens is it activates the green receptor cones. Yeah, rods are light and dark, cones are color, and they're red, green, and blue cones. And it activates the green cones. And all of the green cones become active and override the red and the blue. So you see the ultimate green. The most green a green can green. And I'm really tempted to find out. I'm really tempted to do this because I want to see the most green, because it is my favorite color.
I have typed my one comment.
Yeah, I think this might be Gen Alpha's Tide Pod moment. The thing is it's amazing because at least this is kind of smart. There is science and intelligence behind it. It may be really dumb, but it's also kind of smart. Whereas the Tide Pods were just a...
There were no redeeming features to that one?
Darwinism?
I'm not weighing in any more than I
Less
have
of a-
on that.
More of a consequence, so I'm not counting that.
Okay.
So, back to the show.
Oh man, blind.
This is a good question because the color is called Olo for "Oh lo, my eyes."
Yeah. How did Blind Brian get his nickname?
Yeah. You know what? If you ever want to go YOLO, just see Olo.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly, though, apparently the color is supposed to be like a blue-green, which I gotta be honest, I don't think it should count if the brand new color can be described by two pre-existing colors.
And who told them that? Like what? I'm saying like what test
Yeah,
subjects?
how
All right,
did
you ready?
they-
Yeah, ready. Okay, what do you see? Blue, green, I don't know.
But also, they're like, it's a color I've never seen before. Like, how do they know?
Worth it.
I've seen blue-green. I don't need it.
That's a good point. I really want them to find a new color and be like, this one is spiky. Okay, Nikki.
That's called ferrofluid.
This week, the Wall Street Journal reported that now more than ever, Americans are no longer giving each other what?
High
Hugs?
fives. Can I get a hint?
Yeah, a hint is that only 20% of my friends call me Big Dog anymore.
Oh, compliments.
Nicknames.
That's correct.
Nicknames?
Nicknames.
Wait, there's like a decline in nicknames?
Yeah, nicknames appear to be on the decline, partly due to young people being very mindful about building their professional presence online, which is kind of good practice, right? Because you don't want your interviewer's first question to be, so do you prefer Elizabeth or Pizza Slut 35? But luckily, nickname levels remain high among Little League baseball teams, construction sites, and bodegas where the owner just calls you boss.
Are you saying this is bad for my longtime friend Camaro Kev?
Yeah, probably.
In my friend group, everyone had a dumb nickname.
What was yours?
Luke. And that's what was most hurtful. My parents gave it to me.
So my husband had a friend group in college where every single person had a nickname as well. And it's funny because to this day, I don't know their real name. So I just refer to these people like, oh, are you going to call up Baby Hairs and see what he's doing this weekend? What's your boy Jeans up to? Like they were also weird nicknames that like didn't make sense, like out of context.
Baby Hairs is definitely the nickname for Peter Sagal. Moving on. Nobody tell him I said that.
Y'all can edit that out, right?
Blank. But first, it's the game where you have to listen for the rhyme. If you'd like to play on air, call or leave a message at 1-888-WAIT-WAIT. That's 1-888-924-8924. You can see us most weeks here at the Studebaker Theater in Chicago or catch us on the road. We'll be in Portland, Maine on June 26th and 27th and at Tanglewood in Western Massachusetts on August 28th. For tickets and info to all our live shows, go to nprpresents.org. Hi, you're on Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me.
Hey, this is Celine calling from Steamboat Springs, Colorado.
Hi, Celine.
Welcome. Yeah, Steamboat Springs is such a lovely name. It feels like a city from a picture book.
Yeah, and, Steamboat's a great place for, a landlocked mountain town, so.
Well, welcome to the show, Celine. Bill Curtis is going to read you 3 news-related limericks with the last word or phrase missing from each. If you can fill in that last word or phrase correctly on 2 limericks, you're going to be a winner. So here's your first limerick.
To my brain, a sweet signal you send. It's a pizza and late-night talks blend. It's that wonderful sense of letting me vent. Thank you for being a
friend.
Friend?
Yeah.
That's correct. According
And
to
now the song's
scientists,
in
a
my head.
person's smell can
Yep.
be more influential than their personality when you're deciding to be their friend. I can see how that could work on like a subconscious level, but someone audibly smelling me is not my secret to friendship.
Yes.
This would give like a show like Sex and the City such a different look if they were sitting around having brunch and sniffing each other.
And being like, no, thank you, Samantha.
Yeah.
And then they were like, at that point, I realized, Mr.
yeah.
Big smelled great.
Celine, here's your next limerick.
If your car's nearby, maybe you should check her. He's a mirror and shiny car hood wrecker. Lots of
Woodpecker.
damage occurred from this hard-headed bird.
Yes,
Yeah,
the
the
Now
woodpecker.
our town lives in fear of a...
Woodpecker?
That's correct. An ornery woodpecker has destroyed over 20 car windows and mirrors in Cape Ann, Massachusetts. He's pecking windows, glass, metal. He's not a woodpecker. He's
And he
just
was
a
described
pecker.
as wearing black and white and having a red tag.
Where is this
pecker.
pecker now?
Yes, you are.
I think still there.
So he's just out like ravaging
I
the
assume
town.
at this point the mayor of the town.
Yes.
But that's
Under
so
Cape Ann law, he is
Yeah.
now the mayor.
All right, Celine, here is your last limerick.
Viral infections are dumb, but the thought of a shot leaves me numb. They don't yet have Slurpees for flu or for herpes. I will chew on this germ-killing
Gum.
Gum.
That's correct. Scientists at the University of Pennsylvania have developed a chewing gum that helps fight against viral infections like influenza. Its working title? Juicy Flu.
Oh, no.
The gum is made from a kind of bean that contains a protein that essentially traps viruses. So in the lab, this gum neutralized 2 strains of flu and 2 strains of herpes.
Wow.
So if your spouse is always coming home late, chomping on gum whenever they're working late, I've got some bad news for you.
Right?
Wait, so you can chew it like all the time, or how does it?
It was like Nicorette or just my
Yeah,
breast
or you
milk?
just do it like a vaccine. You just chew on it once a year.
Oh, I think it's like pretty often. So every time you kiss somebody, you're like, mwah, chew, chew, chew.
Or you're like, oh
Is
my
that-
God, like, I'm real itchy. Chew, chew, chew.
Right.
Yeah. That's the slogan for the gum, chew, chew, chew. Gums
Wow.
and trains. Bill, how did Celine do?
She did wonderfully. 3 in a row, Celine. Good
Right.
going.
Yay! Celine, thank you so much for playing.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yay!
I'm not acknowledging that one.
Support for this podcast and the following message come from Cunard, famous face it.
The tech boom. But right now, Wi-Fi speeds.
Final game, lightning fill in the...
You guys have at home have no idea some of the stuff that Peanut Gallery is texting me that I just can't, I can't. It's hilarious.
Thanks. Throw me under the bus, why not?
Oh, yes. Oh, I'm totally doing that.
I mean, if you're actually doing something, is it truly throwing you under the bus?
Yes.
I stopped the show to acknowledge it. I threw him under the bus. It is hilarious. I can't. Not on this channel. Say some of that stuff on my other channel, but not this one.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. It's so good. I had to stop and acknowledge. Even though that last one is just, man.
Each of our players will have 60 seconds in which to answer as many fill-in-the-blank questions as they can, and each correct answer is worth 2 points. Bill, can you give us the scores?
Nagin and Brian each have 2, and Luke is skyrocketing at 4.
What?
Whoa!
Whoa,
That's what that bluff will do for you.
Doesn't make any sense.
I know.
All right, Nagin and Brian, you're tied. So, Nagin, I'm just going to arbitrarily say you're up first.
Great.
The clock will start when I begin your first question. Fill in the blank. On Monday, Marco Rubio unveiled plans for a massive reorganization of the blank department.
Oh, the hair and makeup department at the State Department.
Right, the State Department. On Wednesday, long-serving Illinois Senator Blank announced plans to retire.
Dick Durbin.
Right. This week, health officials warned that if vaccination rates continue to decline, the U.S. could see millions of new cases of blank.
Measles.
Right.
Measles.
This week, a couple in Pittsburgh got married at their dream location, blank.
A quicksand thing on the beach.
Not far, the mosh pit of a Cannibal Corpse show.
Oh, I was going to say that.
On Wednesday, Olympic gymnast blank won her 4th World Sportswoman of the Year award.
Oh, Simone
Biles. Simone Biles. This week,
not
NASA
giving
celebrated
myself
the
that one.
35th anniversary of the Blank telescope.
Hubble.
Right. After celebrating a bachelor party, a man in Ireland spent the next 3 weeks trying to blank.
Sober up.
Annul his wedding.
Trying to remember where he parked. After parking his car, the man went out, partied, and completely forgot where it was. He then spent the next 3 weeks searching one neighborhood at a time. Thankfully, he's now found the car just in time to get wasted at the wedding reception and lose it all over again. Bill, how did Nagin do?
5 right, 10 more points. Total of 12 puts her in the lead.
That movie would be Dude, Where's My Hangover?
All right, Brian, you're up next. Fill in the blank.
What was that?
The movie of that would be Dude, Where's My Hangover?
Ha! Yes. Dude, where's my hangover?
In the blank. On Wednesday, Russia launched a new wave of drone attacks on blank.
Ukraine.
Right.
Ukraine.
According to a new study, nearly half of U.S. teenagers say that blank has a negative effect on their mental health.
Social media.
Right. This week, the White House denied Arkansas's request for federal aid to help people affected by blanks.
The flood or tornado.
Right. On Tuesday, rescue workers in New Jersey warned that a blank in the southern part of the state had expanded to cover over 8,500 acres.
Fire.
Right. In a huge rule change, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences said that members need to blank before voting for the Oscars.
Watch the damn movie.
That's correct. Kenyan runner Faith Kipyegon announced she would attempt to become the first woman to break the 4-minute blank this summer.
Mile?
Right. On Thursday, the 2025 blank draft began in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Go Bears, NFL.
Right. This week, a man in Indonesia escaped with only minor injuries after he drove off an uncompleted bridge because blank.
Bogus
There was no
ass Google
sign?
Maps.
That's correct. Because Google Maps told him it was the fastest route.
It is. To a stairway to heaven.
Even though he crashed into
That'd be
the
a
road
highway to
below
hell.
and then ran into a whole bunch of trees, the man escaped with pretty much no injuries. Then really bad stuff happened after the ambulance driver that picked him up was like, "Don't worry, I know a shortcut."
Yeah.
All right, Bill, how did Brian do?
For the first time in 10 years, I'm honored to say that Brian got every single one.
Oh my God!
8 right, 16 more points, total of 18.
Way to go, Brian.
So how many does Luke need to win?
7 to tie and 8 to win.
All right. Okay, Luke, this is for the game. As part of their ongoing
pressure.
battle, Blank University filed suit against the White House this week.
Harvard.
Right. On Tuesday, the International Monetary Fund warned that Trump's trade war was putting the world closer to a global blank.
Recession.
Right. This week, the White House proposed tariffs of up to 3,500% on solar panels from blank.
China.
Right. According to a new report, blank pollution levels are getting worse across the U.S.
Air.
Right. After being accused of stealing over $200,000, a bank employee in Arkansas defended herself by saying blank.
I was trying to buy my baby a new tooth.
That she was just borrowing the money. Citing a loss of journalistic independence, the executive producer of CBS's Blank resigned.
60 Minutes.
Right. On Wednesday, human runners competed against 20 blanks in a half marathon in China.
Robots.
Right. After a driver accidentally drove away with a woman's kid still asleep in the back seat, Uber refused to connect the woman and the police with the driver, but they did blank.
Charge the kid.
They did offer her a $10 credit for a future ride.
My God.
I first want to say
fucking
everyone in the
refund.
story is okay, and the police got the girl back safe and sound, no problem. And I just want to say that nothing says we're sorry like a $10 credit for a future ride.
Right?
Oh wait, I'm so sorry. That's in Canadian dollars, so a $7 credit for a future ride. Bill, did Luke do well enough to win?
Oh,
6 right,
that's
12
painful.
more points, total of 16. It was close, but not a win. Brian is the champion.
In just a minute, we'll ask our panelists to predict who will be the surprising new pope. Wait, Don't Tell Me is a production of NPR and WBEZ Chicago in association with Urgent Haircut Productions' Doug Berman, Benevolent Overlord. Philip Gotica writes our limericks. Our public address announcer is Paul Friedman. Our tour manager is Shayna Donald. Thanks to the staff and crew at the Studebaker Theater. BJ Liederman composed our theme. Our program is produced by Jennifer Mills, Miles Dornbos, and Lillian King. Special thanks to Mohamed El Sheki and Monica Hickey. Additional production from Peter Teensy Weensy Dog Gwyn. Emma Choi is our vibe curator. Our jolly good fellow is Hannah Anderson. Technical direction, Lorna White. Our CFO is Colin Miller. Our production manager is Robert Newhouse. Our senior producer is Ian Chillog. And the executive producer of Wait, Don't Tell Me is Mike Danforth. Now, panel, who is going to be the next pope? Brian Babylon.
It will be Pope GPT.
Nagin Farsad.
Taking a page from The Daily Show and MSNBC, the papacy will have a rotating cast of popes, changing every night of the week.
And Luke Burbank.
In a move both Vatican ownership and the fans will immediately regret, it's Aaron Rodgers.
And if any of that happens, we'll ask you about it on Wait, Don't Tell Me.
Thank you, Bill Curtis. Thanks also to Brian Babylon, Nagin Farsad, and Luke Burbank. And thanks to all of you for listening. I'm Karen Chi, filling in for Peter Sagal, and we'll see you next week.
Karen Chi, everybody.
Karen Chi. Big dog.
This is NPR.
This message comes from Bombas. Nearly 30%.
Well, all right. So here are the scores. I came in with a measly 21 points this week, although it's the same as last week. Cat swinging hard with a 28, and Peanut Gallery just dominating the speed round for a total of 37. See, this is why I'm glad we've each started keeping our own scores, because I really do feel like I had been missing points for you guys along the way. You know? So, I feel like this is a much more accurate way of keeping track. But I only say that, pardon me, because I trust both of you to keep your own scores honestly. Bezos was going to buy the papacy Because Bible Money being the best-selling book of all time. Good answer. Good answer, Peanut Gallery. Good answer. Well, all right, friends.
Good thing the Vatican isn't America.
What?
I said, good thing that the Vatican isn't America.
Right. You know. And in that vein, stay tuned next Saturday for part one of our lesson on the privatization of everything. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Kat. Thank you, Peanut Gallery. Thank you, Just Me Crystal. Thank you, Chris in the 386. Mwah, great to see you guys here. Thank you. Am I missing anyone? No, that's all of us.
I don't think so.
Yeah, thank you everyone for being here. We will be rating out to JB 1200, I believe. Probably Margarita Mel, now that I think about it. Because it is 5 minutes from noon, and on the Sunday No Pants Raid Train, hosted by our favorite My Future Ex-Husband Lockpick, DJ Margarita Mel is coming up at noon. So I think if we raid it out right now, we would get to JB just in time for the raid.
Mm-hmm.
So I think instead we're going to say stick around for the raid to Margarita Mel on the Sunday No Pants Raid Train. And thank you everyone for being here. Now is the time on the show when I say, as they say around here, 2 up, 2 down, VA, double deuces. We're out, y'all.
He invited you to dinner. You'd hoped others would be there. But you see the table set just for 2, it's just the 2 of you. He starts by complimenting you and then goes into the stream of consciousness monologue. You say he spoke in torrents. Give us a sense of what he was saying.
Well, yeah, that's a dinner from January the 27th, which was a Friday, at the end of his first full. You want to come over for dinner tonight? And I said, certainly, sir. It's up to you. And he said, how's 6 or 6:30? And then he fixed on 6:30. And I said, certainly, sir. And I went that evening to the White House. I was very concerned after that phone call because it's an extraordinary thing for the President of the United States to socialize alone with the director of the FBI, given the way in which the FBI and our entire country has tried to keep that organization separate from the presidential power and politics since Watergate. So I was very nervous about it. Was reassured, though, when I saw Jim Clapper, the director of national intelligence, later that day, who assured me there must be others at the dinner. So I thought it would be a group dinner, probably with other leaders, or the president just trying to get to know people. I show up at the White House and stand in the doorway to the green room, just chatting with 2 Navy stewards. And I look into the green room, and the furniture's all been moved off to the sides, and there's a small oval table in the center with just 2 place settings. And I can see from my vantage point that the one closest to me says Director Comey. So suddenly I know it's a one-on-one, which was very concerning because of the norm that I described. The president arrives, we sit down, and he makes very clear right at the beginning that the purpose of this is for me, in essence, to